Hello and welcome to Unit 4, the Constitution era. This is the era where people make their own government. Let's get started. So, how do you make something out of a system of states that couldn't even hold themselves together to fight the French and India War into their own government that's lasted for over 200 years? The answer? You form a constitution. So, when you're looking at the early attempts of government, you have to know that the colonists are very afraid of tyranny. Tyranny is an abusive government with too much power. The Tyrannosaurus Rex is because the term Tyrannosaurus Rex literally means terrible king. So the colonists felt that the king was a tyrant who took away their civil liberties. They decided that they needed a government to fight the British. So they had to unite or they would be destroyed. But they were terrified of a government that was too strong that would take away their rights. So again, their struggle is how do we balance that? The answer was they made a weak central government called the Articles of Confederation. In the Articles of Confederation, all states were equal with one vote each. They gave it just enough power to win the war. So on your notes, the Articles of Confederation became the first form of government in America in 1781. They only had one branch of government, the legislative branch, which makes laws, and had the ability to declare war, make treaties, and borrow money. That's it. It had a lot of weaknesses because they wanted to keep their rights safe from tyranny. Congress tried to fix the problems that caused the American Revolution in the Declaration of Independence. So, for example, the British abused them with taxes, so the new government cannot tax. The British didn't give us a voice, so 9 states had to agree if they wanted to do something. The British controlled their trade with mercantilism, so the new government couldn't regulate trade. The king had too much power, so they wouldn't have an executive branch. But was the government too weak to function? Would it be strong enough to survive? So the weaknesses of the Articles include no power to pass taxes, can't trade. 9 out of 13 states had to approve any changes to the government. There was no executive branch to enforce the law, and the states had more power than the national government. After the war, the U.S. gained more land. So when the U.S. got all this land, all the states started calling dibs. Massachusetts wanted all of the Northeast. Virginia took huge amounts of land. If you look at the map, you can see the borders are much bigger than they are today. Congress needed a plan to deal with the new land. So they had the idea to make new states that were equal to the original 13. And they decided that they would deal with the Ohio River Valley first and call it the Northwest Territory. The Northwest Ordinance creates a plan for the orderly addition of states to the Union. It forbid slavery and allowed for freedom of religion and trial by jury. Once the territory reached a population of 60,000, they could apply to be an equal state in the Union. But the new government had a big problem. It was broke. Let's tax the colonies. What colonies? We're not Great Britain. So after the American Revolution, farms were damaged in the South, which slows down trade with other countries. As a result, farmers couldn't pay state taxes, and so the states took the farmers' land away, which really ticked them off. Trouble was stirring. War veterans were losing the land that they fought for. A man named Daniel Shays led a rebellion to block the courthouses. So Daniel Shays led a rebellion with other farmers because they want their land back by marching outside a courthouse with guns and not letting the judges in. They almost got a hold of an arsenal, which is where a state keeps the guns, before the state militia stopped them. It resulted in many Americans wanting a stronger form of government than the Articles of Confederation because they barely stopped it. The Articles of Confederation needed a revision. If it could happen in Massachusetts, it could happen here too. Let's meet to revise the Articles. And so they did. Find out what happens next time when we discuss the Constitutional Convention.